the weekend, I shared a post on social media thanking my friends John and Linda for joining this and bringing along their dog, Toady, to be This's anchor dog. Now, that prompted people to say, well, what the heck is an anchor dog? Hi, I'm Susan Garrett. Welcome to Shaped by Dog. And as you may have guessed, the topic of today's podcast is anchor dogs. Now, anchor dog, not to be confused with one of my favorite movies, Anchorman. Stay classy, San Diego. An anchor dog is a term that I coined for dogs that help other dogs be more confident. Now, think of an anchor. It's grounding, right? According to Dr. Google, in ancient times, the symbol of an anchor represented safety. And an anchor dog certainly is what I'm looking for, is safety for my dogs. Because, as you know, dogs pick up the emotions of people, and they also pick up the emotions of other dogs. And so if you have a dog that is really pretty confident in the environment that your dog isn't currently confident, then that dog could be your anchor dog. Now, I'm going to put a little asterisk on this because it depends why your dog is confident. So in the case of this, as I mentioned in episode number 29, where I talked about understanding and preventing reactivity and aggression in your dogs, I mentioned in that episode that different can be alarming to some dogs. And in this case, that's a big reason for her fear, is it's different. We spend a lot of time here on the property. She knows what goes on here. She can be confident here. Something that's different sends off alarm bells. What I would like is that different could be white noise, that different could be curious. So is it something that I've seen many times before? If it's not, I'll be curious. I'm not going to go from 0 to fearful. I'm going to go 0 to curious. And that curious could simply be diffused by, oh, just that. Or I need to investigate more. And what's going to get my dog there is an anchor dog. And so if you have a dog that is fearful because of bad experiences, an anchor dog won't give you as much benefit. I'm not saying they won't be beneficial. I think any dog modeling really good confidence is going to be beneficial to any dog. But let me give you an example. If you have a dog who has never been around thunder, let's say, and they're going to be experiencing thunder for the first time, I would love for that dog to have the opportunity to be around dogs who've been around thunder a lot and really could care less about it. But if you have a dog who is fearful of thunder and you bring in a dog who's never been around thunder, the opposite could happen. So you could say, oh, I'm going to bring around this anchor dog to help my dog who's fearful. Well, guess what? You might be turning your anchor dog into a fearful dog. All right. So an anchor dog works greatest if the dog's fear comes from lack of experience. They don't know how to decipher different as safe. They just don't have that kind of experience. So that's what I'm looking for. And quite honestly, I started using Toady as an anchor dog way back when this was a puppy, and I wanted to get her into the city. Well, the city is different than the quiet country and all the bustling and the traffic, and she would get big eyes. And so I just started going places with Linda and Toady, and Toady was like, oh, I'm chill here. There's nothing to be excited about. And so she actually goes into the city with no issue whatsoever, except when we came out of our last lockdown, I noticed she was very leery of men, of children, and of dogs in particular. So I'm going to go into some detail on how I use the anchor dog to help this. But first, I want to talk about what makes a good anchor dog, or who would be a great anchor dog. And a great anchor dog, number one, it has zero to do with the training of the dog. You could have a dog who really is not well trained, and they could be a great anchor dog, right? They might be chill in any environment. The age, you would think, well, it would be a more mature and older dog. And in most cases, yes, but not necessarily. For example, we had a 6-month-old St. Bernard at our place today, and Speedy Gonzalez was so chill and lay back. He would have made a great anchor dog for this. As a matter of fact, I asked his owner, Kathy, if I could bring this out to meet Speedy. And Speedy immediately looked at her and could see that she wasn't confident, and he looked away. It was just so cool to see this 6-month-old puppy go, I gotcha. We're good here. And so while Kathy fed Speedy, he allowed her to sniff, and she really was a little bit cautious, didn't want to sniff, but she hand touched near him. And at the end, she actually went right by him without being worried in any way, shape, or form. Now, I believe Speedy would have been a great dog to have gone on adventures with. And it doesn't matter that she doesn't know him. And it doesn't even matter that she doesn't like him. He will model great behavior in environments that she currently isn't confident in. And as I mentioned in episode number 79, you can reduce anxiety and grow your dog's confidence by being aware of where your dog is currently confident. So confidence, as I mentioned in that episode, confidence is situational. And so you need to know where your dog shows that great confidence and where they need to grow more confidence. Now, do you need an anchor dog before you can grow your dog's confidence? No. You can grow confidence on your own. And I have taken this out on her own, but let's face it, it's unpredictable out there. We don't know what is around the corner when we're walking in the conservation area or who is off leash. And so I'd like to hedge my bets that when I take my puppy away from home, the chances are I've set up the situation that I can control the outcome is going to be a positive one for her. Now, we can't guarantee it, but I'm going to do everything I can to help make that happen. And that's where the use of an anchor dog comes in. All right, so an anchor dog, it doesn't matter the age, it doesn't matter if they're well behaved, and it doesn't matter if your dog even knows or likes this other dog. What matters is you know where your dog isn't confident and you ask around. Hey, do you have a dog who loves this, this, and this, or doesn't care about this, this, and this? And then, and I don't mean this, my puppy, of course. And then that makes a great anchor dog. And you arrange to meet at a certain location. So what happens with this anchor dog? Now, the locations that I choose are big so that I can get away from, if the dogs are walking on a sidewalk, let's say I pick the city, there's nowhere for me to escape to. So baseball parks or soccer fields or the conservation area where there is areas off the beaten path that I can get to. And so here's what happens. The anchor dog is out in front. They're the wingman, but instead of flying in behind, they're flying out in front. They're out in front initially. And so if we see another person, at first it was people, children in particular, and dogs, we would stop on the side. And I would just feed my puppy with the anchor dog out in front and my puppy and I back behind. And if I thought that she looked worried, I would just get her off to the side, deeper into the forest. Now, what if the children say, oh, puppies, we want to see? That's where my friend with the anchor dog would get up and intersect so that they wouldn't get to this first. They wouldn't get to this at all. And here's another thing that I mentioned here on podcast episode number 8. Be careful how you talk about your puppy and why you're doing what you're doing. And so if there's a child that gets intercepted, your anchor dog handler, instead of saying, oh, she's afraid of children, what we're going to say is, hey, she's growing confidence around children. Do you mind patting my dog so she can see how much fun that is? You don't want to rehearse for your own subconscious limitations about your dog. You're just going to say the truth. We're working on confidence. It's super important that you're not rehearsing that. All right, so our anchor dog intercepts other dogs. Our anchor dog intercepts whatever your dog is showing a lack of confidence in today. And then you're going to say, you know what? My dog's looking good. And here's what happened recently. A week ago on one of these outings, I noticed that this actually watched the other dog going by and wagged her tail. Now, she's overcome her worry with men. She's overcome her worry with children. She absolutely adores them now, all through, strategies of counter conditioning and generalization. And dogs, we're now turning the corner. So in our last 3 outings, she has looked at the dogs and wagged her tail. That's a far cry from barking and growling, which is what we did have. And my anchor dog played a massive role in that. And so once I see that she's confident, for example, on our recent outing with Toady, Toady took the lead and was out in front for most of the meetings. And then I thought, you know what, she's doing pretty good. So I brought her a little bit closer to onto the path. And in some of the outings, I actually let her be out in front so that the people passed her first. This was huge. It was huge. I mean, I still put my body between the people and the other dogs, but if the people would stop, I would happily let her go and meet the other people. She is yet to want to meet the other dogs, but she's happily circling around them. And as she did today with our big Galutenstein, Mr. Speedy Gonzalez, she actually would walk by him with almost touching him, if any kind of issue at all. Does she love other dogs? No, and nor do I need her to love other dogs. I want her to look at other dogs as white noise. They're there. They might look at me. They might even come over and smell me. That's chill. I'll just be chill here. There's a few dogs, actually 3, that she likes to play with, but there's only one dog that was previously unknown to her. So there's one little Sheltie named Keeper that comes on site for lessons every now and again. She loves to play with Keeper, but it wasn't always that way. She would run and be very, very conscious of where Keeper was. Now they chase each other and it's loads of fun. So it's a process. My goal always, I want my puppy to feel safe. I want my puppy to be happy. And in order to get there, I'm going to take her outside of her comfort zone, but I love going there with an anchor dog. Of course, there's a lot of layers, a lot of strategy involved, but anchor dog is something you might not be familiar with, but I know it could be a massive help to you. Don't be afraid to ask your friends, but make sure that you talk to whoever's handling the anchor dog so that they know what your expectations are. Here's what I'd like you to do. Boom, boom, boom. Here's what I'm going to be doing. Boom, boom, boom. And finally, if you can switch up those anchor dogs, it just helps to generalize that good behavior to your dog. Remember, confidence is situational. You've got to get to more and more environments for your dog to feel safe and be happy and grow that confidence in every situation they come across. I'll see you next time here on Shaped by Dog.
Cookers fan.
Now he's diving in. It's time for you to dive into some fresh content. You're not going to know it's there unless you hit the subscribe button. And be sure to turn on the notification bell so you'll never miss another video. And if you're already a subscriber, well, let's have a party for you. A little bit of reinforcement.